This is Off Script with Trish Close, intimate interviews and fun conversations with interesting people. In front of my microphone today, I have Rob Folan of Ryan Rose.
Yep.
Formerly of Folan Cellars.
Formerly, still have the last name. So
Yeah,
it's,
you do still have the last name. That's where we are actually right now.
Yep.
We took Off Script on the road again. We're in lovely Gold Hill.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
And this was at one point Folan Cellars. Now you just said it's same place, different name.
Correct.
Okay.
It's just a rebranding.
Okay.
If you will.
On my way out here, I noticed a lot of hemp fields.
Yep. They're around.
They are around. They're around.
It's all about having land and water. If you got that.
So
there you
true.
go.
I actually am doing a story on hemp in Southern Oregon, and I want to talk to you about that, but
Sure.
later. We're going to first get to, where are you from originally?
I was born in northern San Diego County, Escondido,
Southern California boy?
SoCal. Yep.
Wow.
And we moved up here when I was 14, so went to school in Central Point. So high school here, but everything else down south.
Childhood was in San Diego.
Yep.
What was that like?
Perfect weather.
Really good weather.
Lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
Up here, you don't see it, but 4-lane freeways, and,
Right.
And people even shooting back then, driving fast. So you come up here, everything kind of slows down.
Big time. Big time. I just want to note your mug, there's not coffee in it and there's not water in it. That's all I'm going to say.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Also, I
Wait,
like
mine
your
or
shirt.
yours?
Yours.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
being very good and I'm drinking
Okay.
water. I drank a good amount of wine last night, so I'm good. I'm good today.
I'm proud of you because that's.
Had a nice little dinner at the house and opened some wine. Also, I want to point out your shirt says whiskey helps. I have a shirt like that and love it. It's one of my favorites.
Yep. I think it does help. Maybe
It
probably
does.
too much.
It
Probably
does.
doesn't help.
Yeah.
Probably hurts, but a little bit. Take the edge off.
How about this? It helps and then it hurts.
Correct. Absolutely. Same with the shoot with wine. The same way.
Absolutely. Okay, so you live in San Diego until you're 14. Did you grow up with siblings?
I did. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. All of them younger than me.
Oh man, you're the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a big family. 4 kids.
Yep.
Poor mama.
She was busy. She was busy. No doubt there.
What did your parents do? Or
So
what do
we've-
they do?
So when we were down there, my dad's always been a farmer. Although I think when we were in California, it was a rancher. Is what you called it. You're a farmer up here, rancher down there, whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And my mom took care of 4 kids.
Wow. What, being a rancher specifically, like grow things, food, stuff? What did you do?
So San Diego County, do you know what we have down there?
No.
Avocados. Everywhere. So we were citrus, so avocados, but we also did lemons, oranges, grapefruit.
Wow.
A couple lime trees scattered throughout.
A big production? Large scale?
Yeah, a couple 100 acres.
Wow.
It was big.
Okay.
The place now is, I think there's like a school and like a little mini town there.
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
it was just farmland.
What was the reason for moving to Southern Oregon?
Oh man, just probably like every Californian that's here in Oregon is, you're literally escaping California.
For sure. You go to school in Central Point High School.
High school. Correct.
Crater.
Yep.
Okay.
Crater.
What did your dad do when he moved up here? Still farming?
When we moved up here, and I vaguely remember driving up here looking for property. This is actually a funny story. Driving around, I remember being out in the Applegate somewhere. I feel like it was out by like Cowhorn Winery, like somewhere kind of out there, but it was kind of weird. I do vaguely remember that. So we're driving out here to look at another piece of property. And I don't know if you noticed, there was a cemetery that you drove by.
I
down the
didn't,
road.
but okay.
And it's so we're driving by, and there's this little kind of rickety sign there, it's Pankey Cemetery, and like the car gets quiet, like us kids just what's going on. So my mom's maiden name is Pankey. As it turns out, so that's Pankey Cemetery there. We actually have, kind of second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever removed cousins here.
Whoa.
my grandma's really big into genealogy and did some research on it. And somebody came from the east, came out west. They came here to Oregon, and I think it was two. I thought it was two brothers. One went south to Southern California, and one kind of stayed around here. So we actually, even some of the old timers around here, like we're related to them.
That's crazy.
Pretty much that had to have sold the property here. Like there's if I went through that, like, yeah, whatever, we're buying it. If we're
Did they know that?
No, not at all. Didn't know. I mean, didn't know that was there at the moment.
That's
but
bizarre.
It was crazy.
You can find out so much about you like so later in life.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yep. So they buy this property.
Mm-hmm.
Your family buys this property to farm?
Correct. So we started with just hay, alfalfa. That's how everything was here starting. And then my dad being he's a little bit more of still conservative, but like us to try something new. And I remember talking about putting grapes in, like, no, we can't do that. Everybody's doing that. And this was, what was this? Like the mid 90s or something. And like nobody was, it wasn't grapes everywhere. I don't know what he was thinking. But we put in kiwis, actually. They're called hardy kiwis. They're little small ones. They're not like fuzzy, whatever, you can eat the skins or whatever. There was zero market for it, and hey, this will be the new thing. And it was like just your classic, like complete fail, because they came out. They got hit with frost in the spring. They didn't go dormant, early enough in the fall. Got hit with fall frost. Male, female plants. It totally just didn't work. The only bright side about it was the trellising and everything was there for grapes. So after a few years of this, like, this is not working, we put grapes in and did some more on the hillsides and started the vineyard.
Wow. How many acres of grapes?
We've got about 25
okay.
here, which is plenty.
So this was mid-90s. You were in high school?
Yep.
Okay. So he decides to make wine, or at least grow grapes.
No.
Okay.
No, not him. Actually, and it's kind of timelines are getting off here, but this was probably closer to the early 2000s.
Okay. Okay.
After I was out of high school, I don't think you were.
I graduated high school in '98.
What?
Yeah. Are we the same age?
No, I'm older than you, but.
How much?
I graduated in '95.
Oh, see, we would have been like at the same high school.
Yeah, maybe.
You would have been like that, like the senior that all the girls like had a crush on. What were you like in high school? Let's talk about high school for a second.
I was kind of the gearhead. So the only sport I played was baseball. I just kind of played baseball and just stayed in the shop, and
Awesome.
When you live out here, you can kind of get in trouble. So it was.
What?
Just stayed out of. It wasn't a townie at all. I had fun.
Did you? Fun. Did you stay out of trouble?
More or less.
Okay.
According to the authorities, I was out of trouble.
Were you a good baseball player?
I think I was the best ever.
What position?
Pitcher.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course. Did you, at that time, did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up?
No
or are you
way.
still trying to figure that out?
No way. Oh, yeah. Like, growing up, yeah. I'll worry about that one later.
Yeah.
No, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And anybody, high school wise, like, you're supposed to figure out, like, what are you going to do with your life? Like, there's no way you're going to know then.
See, I think that's I think we have to get out of this. My kiddo's 20, sorry. He's not sure what he wants to be when he grows up. And
no.
Who says you have to figure it out at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21? I mean, it's this idea, and it's put so much pressure on young kids.
Absolutely.
It's awful. Like,
yep.
Go, my husband has a great idea. After you graduate, go explore for 2 years and then figure out what you want to do.
Yep.
But,
I also think it's another thing with, like, going to college, whatever. And my theory on college is whatever you go to get your degree in, basically all you know is you're not going to do that later in your life.
Totally.
So,
well, there's a lot of philosophy and psychology majors that are now winemakers. So
correct.
Putting those degrees to good use.
Yep. But it's still like the whole, the college thing, whatever, is it gives you a chance to kind of grow up a little bit more and give you more time to figure out what, kind of a vague direction that you would want to go.
Did you go to college?
I did.
Where?
Oregon State.
Oregon State.
Yep.
You're a beaver.
Absolutely.
Did you graduate?
I did graduate.
Yay!
In fact, all my siblings went there. We all.
Oh, no way.
All went to Oregon State.
I love it.
Yep.
What did you major in?
Merchandising.
Merchandising. So what did you want to do with that?
I don't know. So I started. I was a mechanical engineer for, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks. That was. I figured that one out. That was too hard.
Yeah.
And then kind of moved to merchandising. It was mostly in the School of Business.
Okay.
So kind of business oriented. I figured out the merchandising part had a lot more girls in it, better looking. So kind of shifted that way.
Shocking.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was, I ended up after Oregon State, I actually did an internship at Nordstrom.
No way.
Yeah. Where's
Where?
Nordstrom?
Like Portland?
Up in Clackamas Town Center.
Awesome.
So imagine me with a suit, every day selling suits and stuff to people. It was so kind of, I don't know if I've gone down or up now.
I don't know either.
One of them.
How long did that last? It was an internship?
It was just an internship. So that was like kind of the last part to graduate.
Oh, I see.
But what was interesting to me about that is, we've all been in Nordstrom and the customer service, right? And that's trying to carry that stuff on to anything else, I think is really important. Their kind of business culture of, just being nice to everyone, no matter what.
It's not hard.
Sometimes it is.
Well, yeah, I take that back. It's not hard to be kind. It is sometimes difficult to be nice to other people.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Was that a challenge for you?
No, you eventually, you just learn it. And, in the wine business now, there's a lot of stuff that we can kind of carry over to that. And, yeah, so I think that was a good learning experience for me.
So what did you do after you graduated?
Let's see. After graduation,
What year are we talking?
so that was 2000.
Okay.
So that's when we started putting the grapes in down here.
Okay.
I figured out that I did not want to work in strictly retail in the mall in Clackamas. Not that hard to figure that one out.
Yeah.
But,
I worked at a couple of clothing stores when I was in high school, and it was great, but that's a tough job. You really have to love selling because there's a ton of pressure on you to sell a certain amount every day.
The commission part,
it's rough, yeah.
And then people, it's all under your employee number, and then like Nordstrom was people returning stuff under your number. There was this whole battle of stuff. I can't deal with this at all.
I hear you. So at that point, do you move home?
Let's see. I was home for a little bit, and then what was that? 2001. Then ended up. It's like, what, I can't do this, so I actually went to school in Salem at Chemeketa. I'll learn about wine. So we have all this land here, right? Dad, I got an idea. I'll learn about wine. Let's put some grapes in, and we'll be millionaires. It'll be awesome. So we did 50% of that. We failed on the millionaire part, but we put everything else in.
So at the same time he decides to plant grapes, you decide, I'm going to go learn about wine?
Correct.
To make it?
To make it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And your dad at this point is was it like a partnership, hey, I can grow them, you can make it? Or did you want anything on the farming part?
What I wanted to do, I kind of figured out after all these things was I wanted to do a couple things. Wanted to make a product. I need to have, we just call it widgets, I need to make something.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to be stuck in a factory just making stuff. I wanted to be outside, growing up farming the whole time. I needed to be doing something outside. But also didn't want to be just a, muddy farmer or whatever. I wanted to, every once in a while, go out to dinner, be dressing up, doing stuff. It's well, shoot, it sounds like the wine business. before I knew anything about it, like that sounds like what they do. You're kind of outside, then you're inside. Like, this could be cool. Just roll the dice.
For sure.
See how it goes.
And you did.
Yeah.
So was the plan to, obviously, if you're learning how to make wine, the plan wasn't to sell the grapes that your dad's growing. It was to make wine here for you guys, to sell.
So everything that we planted here was specifically made or put in like stuff that would do well here in this area, but also stuff that we would want to make into wine. So like doing a Rhone blend. So we put Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre in to make a blend. So it was everything was based on the winery here, keeping all of our grapes and being able to keep everything in house and make our own stuff.
Did you at some point go somewhere else to further your education, or was it all here?
No. So after doing a couple classes there at in Chemeketa in Salem, I ended up it was probably let's see. Must have been like August. So this thing comes up on one of the teachers' doors, a harvest intern. And this was up in the Willamette Valley at Domaine Serene. And it was one of those pieces of paper with the little tags on the bottom,
Yeah.
And so, this sounds awesome. There was one missing, and so I pulled the whole thing off, the whole paper off, because I didn't want anybody else to see it.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's super smart, right?
That's so smart.
I went to college. Yeah, that's what I learned.
I've never even thought of doing that.
Take the whole thing off.
You're such a rebel.
So the best part about it was like that one that was missing. That was the guy I ended up working with there. I told him the whole story. I'm still friends with him, and it was. I don't know if anybody else applied. If they had sheets somewhere else. But,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were they looking for as many as they could, or just one?
I think they needed a couple, and so maybe it ended up working out. Obviously, I didn't tell everyone there, but that was kind of the start of my wine kind of making career
at Domaine Serene.
Domaine Serene.
Okay, I just interviewed Vince Vadrine.
Yep.
He also worked at Domaine Serene.
He was there right after I left.
Oh, really?
Yep.
It seems like the wine industry is fairly small, but
Absolutely.
also big. I don't know. Is that accurate?
Yeah, if you go kind of regionally, Oregon
Sure.
is obviously small, but everyone kind of knows of each other.
Talking to Vince about Domaine Serene, he said, I basically asked the question, is that winery sort of the perception that people have when they think about wine if they don't know a lot about wine? That it's very upscale, it's kind of not out of reach, but when people have misconceptions about the wine industry, that's the winery I think most people think about.
I would agree, and I'd almost kind of bring it back to that's like you go off of like Napa. That's what you kind of
exactly
see, like big places. Everyone kind of thinks that. I remember going down in Temecula, going to one of the first kind of tasting rooms I went to, and like, man, this is crazy. Tons of money here, and obviously I had to show my ID to make sure I'm 21. And trying to act cool. I have no idea, like swirling my glass, like stuff's flying everywhere, and they have no idea what I'm doing. But it was, like once you get past that, then you kind of realize that there's still just human beings around there. Some places are a little snobbier than others.
Yeah.
And some are super cool.
There's a winery, one of my first in, I think it's in Napa, Ledson Winery. I don't know if you've heard of it. Is that in Napa or Sonoma?
I think Sonoma.
Sonoma. So I had just graduated college. My parents were like, let's go to the wine country. I've always wanted to go. And we see this castle-looking mansion.
It is.
And I'm like, let's go there.
Absolutely.
We go there, and it was my first experience in a tasting room. Same thing.
Yep.
And they pour, I don't remember what it was, in this big, huge glass. They pour a little taste. They tell us to smell it. Then he takes the glass and lays it completely.
Yeah, puts it on the side. Yeah.
And rolls the glass up and down the bar. And then he's like, now smell it. And I'm like, I guess it smelled a little different, but being 21 years old.
Did it amaze you doing that parlor trick?
It was cool, I think, then.
Yeah.
Now, if someone did that, I would be like, come on.
Really? Yep.
Give me a break.
Yep.
Just, you could put it in a jelly jar and...
And that's the stuff that we do here. So you still have the new wine tasters, come in, be amazed by stuff like that, and then the old codgers like Mostly like me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the crotchety ones like you and me. We're just like, just give me a glass
just
of wine.
leave me alone. Yeah.
Right. So, you are at Domain Serene doing this harvest internship.
Mm-hmm.
So, was that? I mean, being it from like a farming family, was that brutal for you? Because I've heard harvest is pretty.
No
it can
way.
be pretty gnarly.
It was
Did you have a blast?
Yeah, no, I thought it was awesome. The one thing that, so during all, right before I started there, one thing I forgot to mention. So right out of high school, I went into the Marines.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I was it was just, I went to the reserve, in the reserves. I was a heavy equipment operator.
Nice.
So doing harvest was like, give me a break.
Piece of cake.
Like, shut up. Like, I don't, like, don't complain. This is fine. You know. Yeah.
So the reserves work like did you go to boot camp or?
Of course.
Okay, but then, are you signed up for a certain amount of time?
Yep.
Okay, so how long were you signed up for then?
It was 8 years total, so 6 years kind of doing, your 1 week in a month, your
Yes.
2 weeks in the summer.
Okay.
So I started in 95, was kind of out in 2003.
Okay.
So even when I was at Domain Serene, that was 2001, I was still kind of on the, on Uncle Sam's, list.
Sure.
It was also, and I ended up being kind of right in between, some conflicts, which they didn't, ended up not needing our unit to go anywhere.
I was
And
going to
so
ask, did you get deployed anywhere?
I did not, but
Well,
I was right in between, like,
yeah.
everything.
What were the conflicts? This
Well,
was what, early 2000s? So that was.
So you had,
Oh.
Iraq in early 2000,
That's right.
and then, Desert Storm,
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yep. Okay. But you were done after 8 years?
Yep.
Okay. Why join the Marines?
I don't know. Just wanting to, maybe it was just the recruiter or whatever coming by, but, it didn't take that much to convince me, like, do you want to be the best? Yeah.
Duh.
Right, where do I sign? Just not a sucker, but
Yeah.
I mean, and it definitely changes, you like a person, like
Sure.
anybody doing that stuff. Like, you have a different outlook on everything, and it made it, everything here that we do, like, give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody shooting at you,
For sure.
So quit complaining.
Did that help pay for school?
Of course.
Nice.
Yep.
So you were in school and in the Marines
Yep.
and doing all this internship and in the Marines all at the same time.
Yep.
You're very patriotic.
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When setting up this camera, you asked if it was going to be towards the flagpole because you said, if it is, I got to raise the American flag.
Yep.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. I mean, my family, like, we've always been patriotic. And just over, definitely boot camp and stuff like that kind of puts it in there, into your brain. But like, overall, like, there's no way that you could do the stuff that we have done here, I think anywhere else.
Totally.
And it bugs me that people, kind of, especially now, that people are kind of missing that thing. Like, we're, yelling and screaming at each other. Hey, everybody, relax.
Do you think being patriotic falls into party lines? Meaning, does it seem like more Republicans or
This is gonna get
I
fun.
know. I keep drinking. I don't know how to pose this question because I think that was a dumb question to ask. Where does it come from, your patriotism? Because I'm super patriotic, but I think I went through a time in my life where I wasn't so much. And now looking at it, I love this country, and it's such an amazing place to live. But do you feel like being patriotic falls into certain categories? Like, if you're a Republican, you obviously, yes, you're very patriotic. If you're this, not so much.
Yeah, and I think hopefully this kind of answers that. It kind of bugs me that it ends up being these, like, two party lines. Like,
For sure.
who cares? Like, we're still Americans, like, we just think different ways. So why do we have to, like, why do we have to, if I'm one color, red, and you're blue, like, why do we have to fight? Like there is what is red and blue? Purple, right? Where's the purple party? Like, whatever, maybe that'll come up.
Good point. Let's do it. Let's start it right now. The Purple Party.
maybe it's already happening.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
don't know, but I think that there is, the some people, I think more Republican wise seem to be more Republican,
Seem to
or
be.
more patriotic. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case. I mean, there's all these news people, that are, what was it? Yeah, oh, they're out there. That you kind of hear certain things, but I think overall, I think everyone, we think, like, no matter how like smart or not smart we are, like everyone's brains are working, and we all have our own ideas, even though we might say one thing or the other. Eventually we'll you see stuff in the polls, like how things come out.
Yeah. I just feel it seems, and I could be absolutely wrong, I think it just seems if you don't like the way that things are going in this country, then you're automatically labeled as not very patriotic, and I just don't think that's accurate. I think you can hate the way things are going but still love this land that you live in.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about this place is that we have the rights to be able to do that.
For sure.
Which is awesome.
For sure.
So awesome.
And I think if we all were maybe a little bit more patriotic and really thought about how much we love this country that we live in, maybe we would take better care of it. Maybe. Whew, off script. Went on that tangent.
That was off
I may
script.
cut this part out, and I'm just kidding. So where were we? You were at Domaine Serene.
Yep. All right, so we were
wrapping up in the Marines.
Correct. And then just started. So basically, I just ended up. I loved that first harvest was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was your 13, maybe 14 hours a day, just going. Fruits coming in. Getting in the fermenters, driving forklifts around. I mean, like you were just running it.
You were loving it.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I was 23 or something. Like just, could run around. Could jump on and off a forklift. No big deal. Nowadays, if I jump off the forklift, my knee would probably blow out.
Oh, my back.
Yeah, exactly. So it was so cool. Like I had that was one of the best times like ever.
That's
and then
awesome.
I ended up it was a new building, new winery, and I ended up getting hired on and stayed there through 2008, so 01 to through the 07 harvest. And loved it.
Were you just kind of the worker bee at the whole time?
When I started, yep. So kind of the same thing to me as the Marines. So I didn't go in, and I could have been an officer since I went to school. Could have done that. I didn't want it. I wanted to. I think it's good for people to start at the bottom, work your way up.
Totally agree.
Just so you know, as you're leading people or you're in charge of people, like what they're going through. And I think you're a better leader, better manager, whatever it is, better boss by doing that.
Yes.
So starting at the bottom at Domaine Serene was the way to go.
I so agree with you, and I tell that to my reporters all the time. I'll never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't be willing to do myself or I haven't already done myself.
There you go.
So if they're just like, what? You want me to do what? And it's like, hey, I've done it. You can do it. I promise.
Because you've done the grind,
For sure.
Like doing those things. And it's so then when you tell or ask somebody to do that, when, if there's any like lip kind of back to you, like,
Right.
No.
I think you're respected more too when you have gone through the ranks and it's like,
Yep.
Look, I've done all the things that you've done, maybe a little bit more. So stop your whining. You're fine.
Correct. And over the older we get, the maybe we're things are different now than they were 10 years ago, which I'm sure they are, but the core is still there.
So what did you end up? What was your role at Domaine Serene when you left?
I was the cellar master.
Cellar master.
Cellar master.
Wow.
How about that for a job title? Actually, it's on your card too. That's pretty
Nice.
Cool.
Frame that.
Like, yeah. Like, what does that mean?
What does it mean?
It just means you're kind of there. It kind of goes winemaker, assistant winemaker, cellar master.
Nice. I'm gonna see if I can change my title to newsmaster.
I think you should.
I think that'd be really good. I'm gonna work on that. So why leave? Why did you decide to leave?
The decision to leave was to build a winery down here. So all we had was just a vineyard. Like, hey, it's time for us to make our own wine,
Mm-hmm.
build our own place. So we built our own winery.
Was your dad this whole time selling grapes?
Yep.
Okay. To who?
We sold grapes mostly up to the Willamette Valley.
Nice.
Those were my contacts were up there. So while
okay.
I was, working up there, was putting together deals, trying to get kind of these warmer southern Oregon climate
Nice.
grapes to everyone up north.
Those folks up north like our grapes down here.
I think they do,
They do.
and they do well. But it took a lot of work. I mean, there's
bet.
a lot of driving. I remember, and my dad used to drive all the, we would deliver all the grapes, so it's a 4-hour drive, up north.
Man.
So a lot of road time.
So you guys physically delivered all those grapes?
Absolutely.
Dang. Like renting a truck? Did you buy a truck?
Yeah, we ended up getting our own stuff.
Of course, you have to.
Yep.
So you want to build a winery here in
Yep.
Southern Oregon on this land?
Correct.
Okay, so is it this that we're sitting? Okay.
This is it.
When did this start? When did construction start?
This was a good one. So we started construction 2008.
Okay.
If you remember that time, it was the economy was tanking.
It was pretty crap.
For some reason, somebody told me that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but like this might have been one of the bigger construction projects down here at that time, because
This place?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of concrete and just stuff going on here. I don't know if I believe that, but I do know that it took us a year to build this place. Kind of 2000 summer of '08, we were open summer of 2009, and I do know that if any contractor came in and was late, they were gone, and there were 10 people behind them to fill in, because nobody was building anything. Why would you build stuff when everything's going downhill? It's a good time to do it.
Genius.
Well, hopefully it's genius, it gets it done quick, but it's
Yeah.
also like, so you're going to open up when, the economy's not, good.
Right. So so construction started in the summer of '08?
Yep.
And then this opened in '09.
Correct. It's like a year to do this building.
And you had people chomping at
100%, 100%. It was because nobody was building anything. There was nothing going on anywhere.
So that year, was that, in your opinion, was that quick or was that really slow?
I think that's super, super quick.
Okay. Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's so centrally located out here too. Just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. So you guys opened in '09. You're making the wine?
Yep.
Is there a winery here? So you were making wine on site?
So the 2000, our first wine was 2005. So we made that up in the Willamette Valley at another facility. So 2005, 6, and 7
Okay.
were another facility. 2008, when we started here, that's when I left the main serene, and I went to another custom crush facility, and I was 100% doing everything there. And so eventually, like, knowing that we wanted to open the doors here and have wine to put out, 'cause it takes a couple years for you to have wine.
Right.
So building a building, opening it, and having to wait a couple years till you have product is not very smart. So you should do it beforehand, so you have something to throw on the table.
That's a good point. You show up to a tasting room and you want to taste some wine.
Correct.
But you guys had wine when you opened, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Did.
yeah.
And that was, I thought we, thought it through, and the wines are good. Shoot, they're still good.
They're really good. Yeah, the
still-
wines are really good. So how long is Folan Cellars open for?
So that was what, '09. We kind of based on we had some family health issues.
I remember.
and that was kind of one of the things to kind of close down the Folan brand. That was 2016 was the last vintage that we did for Folan Cellars here.
In fact, when there was the announcement that this was closing, a lot of people were kind of like, "What? So soon? Why? You just opened." That was the feeling.
Which is, tell me about it. Like it still kind of eats away at me. It takes a while for a winery to make itself known. Like you start out with, you open a place, like you're good for a couple of years because you're the new place. And there's somebody else coming in. Now you're older, and you're not cool and hip anymore. you gotta not reinvent yourself. How do you make people want to keep coming back out here? You gotta mix it up. So you're kind of these, brutal years, you're 3 through, I would say like 7 or 8, where you're just kind of, you're not a has-been, but
I
you're just
see
kind
what
of in
you're
this
saying.
middle ground. And
Right.
then that's like I don't know how many people have told me this. It's depending on what you do, it's about a 10-year process, for a winery to kind of be
Wow.
making money.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
So you guys close
correct.
because of family health issues.
Yep.
What do you do at this point?
So
Because you're the winemaker here.
Oh yeah, no, this is my place.
Right.
This, the last name on the bottle is like, well, like maybe it's the Marine thing, whatever. Like, I'm not retreating. Right now.
Good.
There's no way I'm gonna retreat. So all I did was make another brand name and just kind of keep just kind of a new label. So the Ryan Rose.
Okay. Why Ryan Rose? What's the significance there?
So Ryan Rose is my daughter's middle names, Addison Ryan and Taylor Rose.
Love it. I was wondering if it was related to a child.
Yep, it's two monsters.
How old are they? How old are they?
They are almost 13 and 11.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's a fun age.
Oh, yeah, it's a good time. Hence the monster.
Oh man, I was awful. Like from 12 to maybe 16, I was the worst human being on the planet.
Well,
Sorry.
That's what I always wanted girls, just because I know what I was like as a kid. Like I did not want to be responsible for somebody that behaved like I did
Right.
as a kid.
Having a little buyer's remorse right now.
Absolutely.
Just teasing.
So I got the 2 girls, and they're actually awesome.
That's good.
And
That's
that
good.
was, so try to do a wine, off them, I always kind of my kind of joke of the whole brand is like, well, eventually I can just leave them a bunch of debt and they can deal with it when I'm gone.
That's so good. As soon as this place closes, you start Ryan Rose.
Yep.
Okay.
And it didn't really close. I mean, we just kind of sold through the inventory, the full inventory that we had, and I
Right.
just, kind of kept wine, being made and just kind of moved it through.
Yeah. It's still for sale.
Correct.
So the tasting room is still for sale.
Yep.
The land, all of everything.
Just a small portion of
Okay.
the grapes and land that's right here around the wineries.
Gotcha. Okay. What's the goal for this? Obviously to sell it, but
My goals would be different than my folks' goals and my siblings and everybody involved. I think we just needed some time to kind of figure out like how we want to move forward. And
Okay.
so the first thing was kind of closing shop.
Okay.
I do my own thing, and which was not the best family wise. So we've had some interesting Christmas.
how so? Were they upset with you?
Of course, I'm the oldest one. Like I'm the one that got this thing going, and now it's stopping. And
I see.
there is.
Some people not happy with you.
Can we talk about politics again?
Sorry. We'll move on. I think are things better now?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing
Are
everything.
Christmases easier?
They time heals all wounds, right?
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
There's
so we're doing better.
There's a Casey Musgrave song. It's called "Family is Family," and she has one line where at Christmas they all get up in your business,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, family's family.
Yep.
So.
And it's those things are still going on here. Working somewhere else, but when the call comes in, hey, what do you think of the pH on these? Like, I still answer those questions. Trying to make everything work,
Sure.
whether you want to or not.
Keep it
like,
smooth.
you have to do it. That's the family part. Like
You have to.
You have to.
So you're starting up Ryan Rose, but you have to work, right?
Of course,
so
somebody's gotta make some money somewhere.
So did you? Where were you started to do winemaking?
So once we kind of closed everything here, I was kind of in this. I took a little time off since I was a baseball pitcher, right? My shoulder blew out And so I had shoulder surgery, so I kind of had this like downtime. Couldn't really do a lot, which kind of time did okay. And then I was trying to, I was talking to Eric Weisinger, and he was trying to hook me up with working in New Zealand. Yeah, let's go overseas. I never had the chance when I was at Domain Serene to work a harvest anywhere else because I was too motivated to keep moving forward at my job. Work my way
For
up.
sure.
And then the story with that was that that country would not let me in.
New Zealand wouldn't let you
They
in?
wouldn't let me in. They're very, very strict on people coming in and working there because they think they stay and don't leave. So I wasn't able to get a job there based on I don't even know what it was. They just wouldn't let me work there.
They took one look at you and they were like, nope.
Maybe and I was clean shaven. It wasn't crazy,
That's bizarre. That's weird why they wouldn't.
But it turned out that since when that didn't happen, maybe a month later, the winemaker at Belfiore in Ashland was leaving, and ended up getting the winemaker job there.
And that's where you are still.
Correct.
Awesome. How's that going?
It's cool.
You like it?
That place is awesome. I mean, it's if anybody you ever been there,
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of, to me, it's like the Domain Serene of down here.
Nice.
So like I tend to just kind of be around nice facilities.
Yeah. You like to work in nice places.
I do.
Like.
I do. But that there's Belfiore's had a reputation wise. I think the place is great. Wines have been here or there. Whatever, it doesn't even matter to me, but it's like that winery is so important for the Southern Oregon, that I was like, man, this is Rob, this is your chance, like make this place awesome. Yeah, I know I can do it. I know it, like, and I will do it. Like that's just by force of will, it will happen. And trying to bring that place up and make it good just for the owners, and for everyone working there, and almost more importantly, but more for Southern Oregon as a whole.
For sure.
That's super, super important to me, for that place to show well, to have good wines, be a nice place. And so anybody that comes here from California, from North Dakota, they don't even care, that if they go there, like, man, Southern Oregon's kind of got it going.
Because we do have it going.
I agree.
You won an award at the Oregon Wine Experience in the competition. Was it a gold or double gold? You don't even.
For which brand?
Oh, that's right. You won 2. Yeah. That's right.
It's so lame. Gosh.
It's not lame.
It's super. No, just saying it that way is lame.
It's not lame. So you won. What did Belfiore win? So
they got a double gold for the 2015 Malbec.
That's right.
Which is one that I didn't ferment that wine. It was kind of a gift from the previous winemakers.
Nice.
But I did some blending on it and got it together, got it bottled. So it's kind of a tough one. Like who takes credit for that? Like to me, like I don't need it. Like I don't necessarily. And like we can talk about like awards and stuff. I mean, to me, like they're good. I think they help sell wine, but I just really, I know if the wines are good or not.
You don't need an award.
I don't at all.
Nice.
And I got a brand with my kids' names on it. Like I know those wines are good. Like I am 100% content.
What did Ryan Rose win?
Let's see. We did okay with a Pinot.
That's right.
And a Mourvedre and a Rosé.
Nice.
Who cares?
What did the Rosé? He just said, "Who cares?" I'm just asking the question, sir.
I know. Yes.
But that's still. I mean, it's pretty awesome that in the entire state of Oregon, there's lots of wines that you're making, and you're getting recognized for that.
Yep, and that's and there are so many good and talented winemakers here, and awesome vineyards, and it's I think these awards kind of show that the wines they kind of give proof that the wines are good.
Yeah.
And everyone is as long as you can do well, as long as you 100% in, I mean, that's the wine business. If you're not, and 100% is almost not enough.
What's the goal for you? To stay at Belfiore or eventually have Ryan Rose? Do you want another tasting room?
No, I think the goal would be to. I don't want to leave Belfiore at all. Like we still there's lots to do there. The Ryan Rose thing kind of lets me do my own exactly what I want. If I wanted to do make a Chardonnay with put hops in it, I can do it here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that, but I could, versus Belfiore, which wouldn't make sense there. So the Ryan Rose is my kind of playing ground of doing exactly what I want to do.
It's your burger shack. It's like you're a fancy French chef at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and then you open up a burger hut on the side because you just like making cheeseburgers.
That was, now that you brought that up, I meant to bring this up was, you were asking earlier about the, what made me want to be into this business. When I was saying like wanting to work outside, be inside. Another thing that it wasn't quite there early on, but is definitely there now is the food component of it.
Food. Are you a foodie?
I am. I love to cook. And making
no way.
Absolutely making weird stuff. That's so at home. Whenever I'm, the chef for the night or whatever, it's always something just weird. That the kids aren't gonna touch. My wife probably I don't know.
Well, wait, what's weird to you?
I don't know. There's whatever go out. I mean, I love going out and getting morels, getting mushrooms.
That's not weird. Morels are amazing.
I agree. No one else in my house will touch them.
Really?
No way.
Not even your wife?
No.
What's wrong with these people?
I don't know. But doing stuff like that and seeing those flavors that come out, when you're making stuff, and just kind of learning how to make a dish is so awesome, because it's very close to making a wine.
Yeah.
You're
but
building
so
up.
Different.
Correct.
I'm assuming.
Well, you can do it, every night versus making wine. You get one chance a year.
Yeah. Is that kind of your outlet? Cooking?
I love it.
Are you a stick to the recipe kind of guy, or look at a recipe, see what goes into it, the process, and then do it on your own?
So recipes are horrible to me. It's why I can't make beer at all, because that's kind of following a recipe. And every time I've made beer, I just can't follow the recipe. Hey, at 45 minutes, put this in.
No,
it
doesn't.
I'm gonna wait a while, and then I'm put this in because that feels better. So cooking is the same way of, 1 clove of garlic. What does 1 clove of garlic do?
Thank you. I was just gonna say that. Who puts 1 clove of garlic in a dish?
So a clove of garlic is the whole thing, right? It should be, because it's not one little piece. One little piece does nothing. Does nothing at all.
Man,
why
Rob's
would you
getting fired up?
Why would you ever put just 1 clove of garlic?
Honey, preach. Yes.
Just use the whole thing.
Right. And it's 1 small clove of garlic. Get out of here with that garbage.
It's ridiculous.
It's stupid. I agree with you. I love to cook too. In the South, I mean, that's where I'm from. All of my family cooks, even to this day. We're just big foodies. Always in the kitchen. That's where everybody gathers. So I feel you there. I absolutely love to cook.
And that's where it kind of ties into the wine thing. Once you're cooking, then everyone's hanging out in the kitchen. I think that's why a lot of our houses these days, we have the big open kitchens, right? That's so everyone can kind of
big old island, big
absolutely.
Table for sure.
So what do you do? If you're starting to make a dinner or lunch, whatever it is, you get ideally, this is the path that it should go. Is you should have a bottle of bubbles first. That's how you start. Do it right. Is you should saber it. Just
Okay.
But if you don't have that, then it's you get the bottle of white wine, because you can cook with that and do whatever.
Cook with some white wine. Drink a little bit of white wine.
So
sure.
you fill your glass and you start doing stuff. You're cutting it up. You kind of forget where your glass is because you're busy, and then next thing you know, let's open some red wine. It's
For
getting
sure.
close to time, and you follow that path. You don't have to be putting down 5 bottles of each at all. Just
a
one.
little,
Don't even have to finish it.
No, don't have to finish the bottle.
No.
That's what those little thingies are for.
Absolutely. And I just like making something with having that glass of white wine or even bubbles there as trying to make, some sort of food. It's like always kind of little, like, yeah, there you go.
Of course.
Put a little bit in there.
I
Don't know what it
like
does,
you
but
so much more right now than I did when this interview started.
I kind of knew that the food thing would.
We're just
would
total
get ya.
buddies there. That's
Get ya.
exactly how I work.
So I was waiting until it was a little later on.
Warm everything up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, glass of bubbles when you're cooking, glass of white wine when you're cooking, absolutely. And then whiskey after.
There you go. Depending on, how
How the wine drinking went through dinner.
and
for
then
sure.
the whiskey at the end, and then you can also go to, to your ports or whatever.
Ports,
And
mhm.
it's so doing these things, like minimum would be I would get rid of a bottle of white wine, a bottle of red wine, and some sort of maybe an after dinner, if it was a port or whatever, which is awesome because then that creates real estate in my cellar, which is just overflowing. So it's not about, cellar wise, it's not about getting wine. I got plenty of that. It's like just trying to remove stuff so I can put more in.
Sweet. I'm coming over to your house then.
It's pretty. I think
You
it's
have a nice
fun.
cellar?
Yes, lots of wines that I have zero time to drink. I'm not gonna drink.
Oh,
them all on
dude,
my
I'll
own.
come over.
That's
Um,
done.
okay,
You're
sweet.
gonna need a driver home
Sweet. Okay.
since we're not centrally located.
You're not centrally. When did you meet your wife?
We met at OSU in the dorms, freshman year.
Scandalous.
It was.
Co-ed dorms?
They were. It was by floors.
Oh.
So the roommate and I were on the third. She was on the second floor.
Nice, nice. And you guys got married when?
We got married in 2003. It's been 16 years.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so
Been
cool.
a while.
Yeah.
Been a while.
So you're still working obviously at Belfiore, just
Yep.
really just killing it over there.
I think so.
I think you are
I like
too.
to believe.
I think a lot of people think you are.
Good.
I read in your bio online, Rob's not your typical winemaker.
No way.
What's a typical winemaker though? That kind of annoys me. Sorry. Like, what's a typical winemaker? I think you're absolutely the part.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you? Yeah, that's kind of a.
Because you don't wear a suit? Because you
it
drive
could
a truck?
be.
Like,
I don't know. I think these are kind of preconceived like notions of the same thing of what a Napa winery is versus here.
because I read that in an article too about you, that he's not the typical winemaker, and I'm just like, says who? I don't know. It just throwing that out there.
I do like to think that it's not necessarily like I know I'm not the best spoken person. I definitely drink. I'm pretty sure I drink more beer than the majority of the winemakers. At least the ones that I know here. Like I can doesn't mean I can outdo them.
I
but,
like to call it cleansing your palate.
It absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I've done wine judging where that's what we had. We had Coors Light in between as a palate cleanser, in it because it's just like whatever. It just kind of gets you a baseline and typical winemaker. I don't really know what that
I don't
is.
either.
I think that's kind of an older statement that is maybe not so appropriate now or makes sense now, but
Yeah, I would agree. We're gonna wrap up just a little bit so we can get
Yep.
to the final three, so we can talk more about food.
okay, perfect.
That's the last question. But just to kind of reiterate, you're winemaker at Belfiore, but you're still just doing this Ryan Rose on the side. Where can people get Ryan Rose wine?
So right now it's just through the tasting room here, or you got to find a way to get a hold of me.
This tasting room, formerly known as
Folan Cellars.
Folan Cellars. If this place sells, will you still continue to do Ryan Rose?
Yeah,
Okay, where? Somewhere?
I figured it out.
You'll figure it out. I feel like that's kind of how your whole life has been.
I'll
I'll just figure it out.
you can try to plan everything like super far in advance, and I'm the worst at overthinking things.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to kind of bring it back a little bit and just let's kind of just flow, go with the
Yeah.
flow.
I'm very jealous of people like you that just kind of, I don't want to say you float through life, but you've just gone through life and things have just worked out for you.
Yep.
You could probably say the same for me, but I need a plan. I need things to be in boxes, and
Yep.
I just don't see you being that way.
I would love to have that happen. That would make me, like, I would feel a lot more, not happy, but just a little more, feel like I'm more in control. But like, it doesn't matter what we do, that things always change. You got to be ready for that curveball coming in. Always be ready for it.
Nice
and
baseball analogy.
Thank you. There's and that was like just trying to plan everything out, even like just like this whole place, put grapes in, build a winery. Like there was obviously a huge long-term plan, and it didn't quite come out that way.
It didn't.
Based on either poor decisions on my part or just economic conditions, whatever it is. So at some point you do have to have kind of a grain of salt. Just be willing to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. I mean, I try to be, and I think I can get there, but we're going through a huge transition at work where we're completely moving our whole operation to the Mail Tribune, which is downtown. We're also at the same time learning a complete new way of editing video. I am freaking out. And all of my 22, 23-year-old reporters are like, meh. And I'm just like panicking the whole time. I'm just the old woman in the newsroom freaking out.
And that's, everyone makes fun of the younger generation, but that is it's actually a really valuable skill to be able to have that mentality. Hey, it's all right. Like,
I agree.
Just go with it. And we have problems with it, but they don't, because they've always been in shifting times.
I know. I'm jealous of that. So, but it's good because we're all in the newsroom together. So they're teaching me to just go with it, and I'm teaching them to panic.
Yeah, great.
Be urgent.
Yeah, which is that is funny.
Yeah,
panic. That's a good word.
We actually had our old morning anchor, noon anchor. She was hilarious, but she would run down the stairs to the studio if she was stressed out, and she would scream, "Everybody panic!" So it was good. Good times.
And then eventually, like, you do it a couple of times, like no one does, or maybe they do. They find the ones that are like, hey, you got to talk to them. It's okay.
It is okay. It's all gonna be okay.
It will be all right.
All right, Rob Folan. Let's get to the final three that you said you
ignored. You
ignored my final three questions that I prepped you on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Best advice you've ever been given.
Let's see. I mean, that can go anywhere, but kind of keeping it to tie in with this whole thing was the winemaker at Domaine Serene. He said, Rob, I was trying to ask, how he got to where he's at, like how he learned all this stuff, like what he, thinks about the whole business. He's like, here's the deal. Like, if you do good at your job as a winemaker, whatever, the better you are at it, the less of the stuff that you want to do, you're going to do. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, look at me. How many times do I come down to the cellar? Like, you're not here that often, the winemaker, but he wasn't, it's like, yeah, because I'm doing paperwork or dealing with this or dealing with that. It's like the better you are at making wine, like the less kind of making wine you're going to do. And the more you move up, you're going to start doing these other things that are still hugely important, but you actually, better you are at your job, that you kind of push yourself out of it.
Yeah.
So if you like doing interviews and stuff here, like pretty soon, like you're gonna just be, sending people out. Like somebody else will be some new person.
That's true. That's a good point.
So you kind of, by doing good, you kind of work yourself out of what you like to do, which, like, to me, it's like making wine, like fermenting stuff. It's awesome.
No, you're absolutely right. I've been with the station for 17 and a half years, and I feel like just now I'm really doing the things that I truly love.
And hopefully you can keep doing that, but eventually it's like, like your skills and your knowledge is better used over here guiding these other 4 or 5 people
than
here.
Doing this. Yeah, for sure.
So
that's a good point.
So that was the advice. I didn't really believe it when that was told to me, like, no, I'm always going to do this stuff. And like right now, like Ryan Rose, I'm trying to figure out payroll. Are you kidding me? Like,
ew.
It's horrible.
Barf.
Yeah, it's the worst thing in the world. All that stuff is not fun, but you got to do it.
Hopefully you'll get to the point where you don't have to do that anymore.
There you go.
Okay. If you ever left this place, Southern Oregon, what would bring you back here? What would you miss the most about it?
So coming up here, I was here for a few years, four years high school.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was up in Corvallis, up in Portland, then kind of came back. So it kind of stayed kind of more adult life, here in Oregon. What I liked about Southern Oregon, I like the weather. Obviously don't like the fires. I get it. Like,
Sure.
I don't want to get into that
Yeah.
can of worms. But I do like the outdoor part. I like it being warm. I like the seasons, which we didn't have in San Diego. It was just 78 degrees all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
It's cool when it gets cold. It's cool when it's hot outside. So I do, have the river. We have the mountains. You have everything is here.
So true.
Everything is here, and I think
agree.
that's why there's such a influx of people like myself included that want to be here. We don't have the hustle and bustle of San Francisco or even Portland or their and all their garbage up there. It's a little more. It's still a small town-ish, and that's what would probably either bring me back or keep you here.
Okay.
Yep.
I just realized we forgot to talk about hemp.
Ooh, yeah. Hemp.
Do you want to talk about hemp now?
We can.
Let's end with food. So let's talk about hemp really quick.
Okay.
So the final three just turned into whatever.
The final four.
Whatever I want it to be. I'm doing a story I told you on hemp fields. They're everywhere.
Yep.
Everybody's seen them. And a lot of people who are for cannabis and for hemp are just sort of frustrated that they're everywhere. And then there's a lot of people who don't like them, who absolutely hate these farms. What are your thoughts, first of all, on hemp? And then how do you feel about wineries and other farmers pulling out vines and other crops to plant hemp?
My overall kind of thought on hemp or just marijuana, whatever, it's kind of just gonna lump them together.
Sure.
Just easier. Is I actually like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do any of them. I don't use CBD stuff. I don't even get it. Did enough stuff in high school and whatever. Like I'm over it. I don't need it. I make wine.
Noted.
I got my own.
This is your vice.
I got my own vice.
Got it.
But what I kind of seen, in the past, like farming just in general is going away. No one wants to farm anymore. Why would you want to? Like you work your butt off outside and to make nothing, and you can't. It's super hard to just start a farm or a ranch or anything because you need tractors. You need to have money to
you need
capital
a lot of stuff
to get it going. So that was completely dying off, and I still think that country is going to have some issues here in the future of people not wanting to grow stuff because it's too much work.
Yeah.
So the hemp, weed, whatever that's coming out here, I think it's kind of bringing a cool factor back to it.
Okay.
And it's getting people that like younger people out and being outside and learning, about the weather, paying attention to it, like water use, water rights, having those things.
That's a good point.
Fertilizer, like
and there's
organic.
cash behind it.
Absolutely.
So you can make money
so
in this,
you
right?
do have a chance to do. What I see happening here is it's starting another kind of generation of people that might, if any one of these, businesses kind of bottom out, like maybe they'll move, maybe they can move over to be a vineyard, managers, because they know how to grow a crop.
Good point. Okay.
So I am 100% behind it, just because I think like long term it's helping the area, kind of country out of getting people to be interested in farming.
Well, and hemp is insanely sustainable. I mean, there's so much that can be done with this plant.
And why it's taken so long for that to happen? I mean, well, there's obviously
the regulations
reasons.
up the wazoo. Yeah. Yep. So, no, I'm with you there. Just curious more than anything. Okay. Anything else?
Well, the one and the other thing, like there are some lawsuits about like the smells going to your grapes,
the taint.
I'm not a chemist, but I cannot see how that's possible.
Okay.
I mean, I'll totally go on record for that. Like somebody can burn me, like, hey, check it out. But I would have zero problem with buying grapes from right next to a hemp farm, and I'm almost positive it'll be fine.
Okay. Good to know. The final of the final, now 4. If you were given a final meal, a final drink, what would that look like?
Final meal, final drink.
Or drinks.
Drinks. We'll say this like being on like death row. Like,
Yeah,
like
or
that.
just, like someone
where I was-
basically tapped you on the shoulder. Hey, tomorrow you're done. So
Could happen. Let's see. I would probably say drink-wise would totally just be a beer.
just a beer.
It could be any beer. It doesn't really matter. And then even honestly, and so I did kind of think about it. I wish I had like some awesome put together, 10-course, meal. Like I really don't. I would just want to eat something and drink a beer with some people, and I would be totally
Perfect.
100% content.
Eat anything.
It really doesn't
Just
matter.
a plate of good food.
Piece of pizza. It could be a filet mignon. Like I'd be fine with either of those. It's to me, it would just be having a drink and having some food with, ideally would be with people I want to be around.
For sure. Awesome.
That would be my final meal.
I like it. You're a lot of fun, Rob Folan.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. I'm not being sarcastic.
Okay.
That was 100%
All right.
serious. No, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I think you may have been drunk at Oregon Wine Experience when you said, yes, I'll be on your podcast.
It's possible.
Okay.
It is possible. But
you weren't alone.
but
There was a lot of drunk people
it-
at Oregon Wine Experience.
Correct. Let's not say drunk. They're just having a good time.
Tipsy.
Tipsy. There you go.
Yeah.
And then that was a great event. That event in general is awesome, showing the area down here and what the winemakers and the growers can do.
It's such an amazing event. It's definitely one of my favorites.
I
So,
agree.
if you're listening to this podcast on iTunes and you like it, please subscribe, rate, and review. It helps other people find us. You can also find us on Google Play and Stitcher. And if you want to check out the video portion of this podcast, go to ktvl.com, click on features, and then off script. One more time, Rob Folan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.